Hey, I'm Ramon, editor of Smart Hustle magazine. We're at South by Southwest 2017 in Austin, Texas, and we're at the Dell Experience. And I'm happy to talk to Bethany Edwards. Bethany, welcome to the interview.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bethany, what's the name of your company?
The name of my company is Diagnostics.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, basically we invented and have developed a biodegradable, flushable pregnancy test.
Love it. And we heard your pitch today and your talk today, and I think you probably have some advice for startups, for entrepreneurs. You've been down a road many of them haven't.
Yeah.
Pitching and other things. Just in a broad sector, let's talk about pitching. How about let's start there?
Sure.
Any advice for those in a room full of people, the stress level, the lights, camera, action, if things go wrong, if they don't go wrong? It's a big question.
Yeah.
But what's your advice for pitching a business, even if it's an elevator pitch? Give us a general advice from you.
All right, yeah, sure. Expect that always something's going to kind of happen. We saw that today with me, right? Slides magically disappeared from the desk.
And you handled it very, very well.
It happens. I do a lot of attention to detail in terms of the imagery that I like to use. So I spend a lot of time on that. We custom shoot a lot of the photos that I use in my decks. So I would really recommend that. And then I really try to write a little bit of a script and really go over it, right? But you always have to accept and let room for just kind of riffing a little bit, because something normally happens and you can kind of read the vibe of the crowd, and there's certain information that you want to throw in there and then not throw in there. And honestly, it's one of those things that you get better by just doing, right? Like it's practice, and every time I do it, I'm still a little bit nervous. But you get better the more you do it, and I've been doing it for a bit, but always a little bit rusty the first couple times.
And you're in a business where there's a lot of complexity, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not like you're, a bagel shop has complexity too, but you're not just building a bagel shop and selling in the corner.
Sure.
Any advice on that? Again, I know it's a broad question, but for those out there that are maybe in the medical industry, in the personal services, selling to the government, any type of complexity with the regulations, anything that you're learning,
Yeah. Great question. So I think it's really important to find a way to really simplify and describe the crux of what it means. What is the real problem that you're doing, and what is the solution? And do it in the most simple way that you can kind of describe it, because you should assume that a good bit of your audience might not be at all familiar with the technology. Try to avoid any jargon.
Great point.
And really find ways to succinctly describe what you're doing, right? So I think that's been like one of the biggest things, is try to write it in terms of like if you were explaining it to a kid, right?
Yes.
And somebody who has no idea what you're actually doing. Those are kind of the big things.
And often
there.
we as entrepreneurs, we forget that. The last question, Bethany, what's your overall advice for startups and entrepreneurs? Another broad question, but again, you have some experience. What are you learning? And what would you say? I wish everybody would do this, or I wish they'd all stop doing this. Any thoughts along that realm?
Really, really good question. I think that for me, this has really been a lot about really a passion and a desire to create something that never existed in the world. And so that's sort of what I've used to kind of fuel and motivate me through this, because I think that if you really if you really understand how hard it's going to be, you wouldn't necessarily do it. I think that that's part of it. It always takes longer than you think it's going to, and a little bit more money than you think that it's going to, right? But I think that there's really something special about being able to create something new that never existed. This idea of building something is really, really appealing to me. And I think as an entrepreneur, if you can really find that and leverage it, it's really how you get to the next level. And this idea of just continual growth and being able to grow with the business it is something that's big. Like, in the beginning, there's things that you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I still don't know what I don't know. But surrounding yourself by pretty good mentors is really big. That's really been helpful for us. And then just accepting and being okay with yourself that, there's going to be times that you mess up and you just kind of have to grow with it.
Great. And so one more time, tell us your name and the name of your company.
Yeah, I'm Bethany Edwards, and my company is Diagnostics.
And I'm Ramon, editor of Smart Hustle magazine at South by Southwest 2017 already in Austin, Texas at the Dell Experience.